Before there were whitewashed villages and seaside towns, before there were picturesque marinas and ouzo and feta cheese, even before there were temples to the gods and theaters and exquisite works of art, there was this, the pure beauty of Greek nature, whose land and seascapes both influenced and formed the backdrop for everything that came after. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Quarantine History. Today I'd like to introduce you to 10 of my favorite places of natural beauty around Greece. It was a challenge choosing just 10 because this small country, which is about half the size of the United Kingdom or a small US state, packs in the geographical variation of countries much larger in size. From the home of the gods, Mount Olympus, to the longest gorge in Europe, to many lesser known sites, Greece is a paradise for eco-tourists in search of some of Europe's best kept secrets. I want to show you a few of those today. Number 1 is located in the northwestern corner of the island of Crete. Ballast Lagoon is easily one of the most breathtaking spots, not just in Greece, but in the entire Mediterranean. But the fact that it's a little bit difficult to get to makes it a lot less crowded than you would think. To reach Ballast, you have to drive along a rocky mountain road, avoiding the occasional goat or sheep, and then proceed to walk down the side of a cliff before arriving at the sugar-fine white sand dunes below. Alternatively, you can take a day trip boat tour from a nearby harbor. The lagoon's white and pink sand beaches and crystal clear turquoise waters set against the deep blue of the Mediterranean beyond make Ballast my number 1 favorite spot of natural beauty in Greece. Number 2 is another Cretan natural wonder, which happens to hold the distinction of being Europe's longest gorge. Samadyas Gorge National Park is in the prefecture of Hania on the island of Crete and is a UNESCO World Biosphere Reserve. This spot isn't exactly a secret, as over 500,000 people make the challenging trek through the 16-kilometer-long gorge every year. The hike passes through the gorge's breathtakingly high walls with narrow passes where you can practically touch either side with extended arms, crosses over riverbeds and under precipitous cliffs where hikers might even get a glimpse of the elusive Cretan goat known as the krikri. The gorge empties out on the south coast of Crete, where hikers can refresh themselves with a dip in the Libyan Sea and a meal of traditional Cretan delicacies to reward their efforts. My number 3 pick is on the Aegean island of Milos, whose name might just ring a bell because it is the home of the Venus de Milo statue found in the Louvre Museum in Paris. Today, one of the reasons that travelers in the know come to this Cycladic island is to experience the beach at Saraikinico and its lunar landscape, which is the result of ancient volcanic activity as well as of wind and wave erosion over the millennia. While tiny Milos has over 70 pristine beaches along its lacy coastline, Saraikinico always tops the world's best beaches list because of its unique whitewashed rock formations and vibrant turquoise waters, making it one of the most picture-perfect of Greece's many natural wonders. Rising to almost 3,000 meters, or 10,000 feet, Mount Olympus is Greece's highest mountain. Famous the world over from its prominence in ancient Greek religion and mythology as the home of the 12 Olympian gods, the mountain is located on the border between the Greek regions of Thessaly and Macedonia, and was the very first area in Greece declared as a national park. Its rich biodiversity and diverse flora make it a favorite with hikers year-round. Interestingly, a very unique annual race is held on the mountain. Called the Olympus Marathon, runners retrace the steps of ancient Greek pilgrims who ascended the fabled mountain every year to honor and sacrifice to the king of the gods, Zeus. The majestic mountain is naturally one of my top 10 favorite places of natural beauty in Greece. Pick number 5 is a cave with mythological associations as a home of the ancient nymphs, but that was only rediscovered in the 1950s. Subterranean Melisani Cave on the Ionian island of Kefalonia is surrounded by dense forest, while the roof of one of the cave's chambers collapsed many centuries ago, revealing a crystal clear lake with turquoise waters up to 30 meters or about 90 feet deep. The lake water is so clear that boats look as if they're floating on it. Visitors can experience the breathtaking beauty of the cave and its verdant surroundings by walking into the cave to the edge of the lake and then taking a rowboat ride around the lake itself. You can see why the ancient nymphs would have chosen this magical place as their home. My number 6 pick is yet another of Greece's 8,500 caves, and this one is the vast underground Eros cave complex in the Laconia region of the Peloponnese. This monument to nature is known as Nature's Underground Cathedral and has a history dating back to Neolithic times and even earlier. Dramatic stalactites and stalagmites formed millions of years ago grace the walls of this natural wonder, whose full extent has yet to be determined. Geologists know of caverns winding 15 kilometers into the mountain, as well as over 2,800 waterways, but exploration is ongoing. Visitors today can take a 40-minute boat ride through the largest of the caves, where they're told of the spectacular finds made in the cave system so far, including the fossil remains of a 32,000-year-old hippopotamus and the recent discovery of the perfectly preserved remains of a 5,800-year-old couple locked in an embrace. Their remains were part of one of the largest Neolithic burial sites ever found in Europe, making the Eros Caves not only a natural wonder, but a significant historical site as well. Number 7 is an area of natural beauty whose rock formations constitute a very rare geological phenomenon. Top these formations with precariously perched monasteries, and you have the area known as Matteo in the region of Thessaly in north-central Greece. The name of the area is etymologically related to the word meteor and means lofty or elevated, and the immense pillar-like rocks that were once home to 24 monasteries, today only 6 are still functioning, were formed over 60 million years ago by a series of earth movements that pushed the ancient seabed upwards. Hermit monks began living in hollows and fissures of the massive rock columns around the 9th century AD, and by the 11th century AD, a monastic community had formed. Today, this rock forest is a popular destination for hiking, climbing, and rappelling, just like James Bond did in the 1981 movie For Your Eyes Only, which was partly filmed at one of the monasteries. More recently, Matteo served as the inspiration for the Eyrie in the Game of Thrones series, and certainly features on any list of must-visit places in Greece. My number 8 pick has a mythological story attached to it that most everyone knows. The Acheron River flows across the mountainous northwestern Greek region of Epirus and empties out into the Ionian Sea. In ancient Greek mythology, the river was one of the 5 rivers of the underworld, or Hades, and according to Virgil, the principal body of water from which the river Styx flowed. As mythology tells us, the newly deceased would be taken across the river by the ferryman Charon before they could enter the underworld. Today, the rugged landscape of the surrounding mountains, in combination with its lush vegetation and mostly inaccessible terrain, make for an area of outstanding natural beauty. And despite the fact that its mythological origins are so well known, the river itself is really only visited by those in the know. At certain calmer points on the river, you can walk up and downstream through its refreshing blue-green crystalline waters. At other points, go rafting or even horseback ride along and through the river. The peaceful beauty that surrounds you belies its darker origins as a place of mourning and woe, and makes it one of Greece's most memorable spots of natural beauty. I often refer to my number 9 pick as the Mont Saint-Michel, or the Gibraltar of Greece, because of the island's obvious geological similarities. The small island of Monemvasia sits just off the eastern coast of the Peloponnese. Once connected to the mainland, it was separated by an earthquake in the 4th century AD, and then reconnected to the mainland via a causeway in the 1970s. This rocky outcrop was of minor importance in ancient times, but began to be significant in medieval times because of its strategic location. Its unique rock plateau, which rises dramatically out of the waters to approximately 300 feet above sea level, houses an almost perfectly preserved medieval fortress village, whose streets are so narrow that only foot and donkey traffic is permitted. The name of the island and village derives from two Greek words that mean single and entrance, as there is only one way in or out. To truly appreciate the natural beauty of this rocky outcrop, visitors can hike through the lower and upper town and continue on to the island's highest point for breathtaking 360-degree views of the Mediterranean around them. The final spot I'd like to mention is certainly not what you would describe as a hidden gem of Greece. The island of Santorini is, of course, world famous for its stunning whitewashed villages, picture-perfect sunsets, and romantic atmosphere. But the reason that I picked Santorini is, of course, its caldera, or volcanic crater. This active volcano, situated in the middle of the Aegean Sea, was once an island with a circular shape until one of the world's most powerful volcanic eruptions occurred and created the impressive geological formations that we see today. The crater is approximately 7.5 by 4.5 miles in size, with steep cliffs rising to 1,000 feet on three sides. The extraordinary geological beauty of the island is a perfect backdrop for the villages that line the edge of its cliffs and make Santorini a magnet for tourists, geologists, and volcanologists from around the world. For more information about Santorini, have a look at my video entitled Santorini. From north to south and east to west, the small country of Greece has natural beauty quite literally everywhere. Add to this the thousands of archaeological sites, museums, traditional villages, islands, beaches, and national parks, and you truly have the perfect place to discover, explore, and get lost in. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy my videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you next time on Quarantine History.